Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I am your host, Krista Burns, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Commission's weekly online event where we cover anything that may be of interest to librarians across our state. We do these sessions live every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. And they are all recorded, so if you want to, you can go in and watch the recordings. We have about almost 130 or so recordings.
And the podcast, we're up to 130, yeah.
Okay. And afterwards, they're made into podcasts. We do all sorts of different things here, presentation, interviews, mini training sessions, anything we can think of. We bring in guest speakers sometimes, and we have commission staff that do presentations, as we have today. Today, next to me, I have Michael Sauers, who is the Technology Innovation Librarian here at the Library Commission. And once a month, we let Michael come on.
She lets me.
We invite you.
Okay. Right.
To do his monthly tech talk, which is anything of interesting, specifically technology related, that he might have come up across the last month or so. Sometimes you interview people, but this week we've got something a little different we are going to be doing. And I think I'll just hand it over to you if you want to talk about what you're doing today.
Okay. And of course, I have a very itchy nose today, so, lovely to be on camera and being recorded when your nose is driving you completely insane. All right, so what we are talking about today, for those of you who were watched or attended live our last Tech Talk, Chris and I lately have been talking a lot about technology planning in different states. We've been to a couple of different ones. Here in Nebraska, we did a conference, and there was a small conference also in Colorado about technology planning. And one of the tools that was talked about to varying degrees in the different conferences was TechAtlas for libraries. So what we thought was we would do one of these sessions specifically on that. At the end, I'll do kind of my typical, here's some news and resources that you might be interested in for the month, but we're going to kind of focus on TechAtlas for libraries and its 3 tools that are available that are involved in technology planning and technology implementation. So it is a product of a combination of OCLC and WebJunction. Here I'm on the WebJunction page for TechAtlas, and this will be in the bookmarks we have for the session. From here you can get to some documentation, information about how it works. TechAtlas has been used in the past for various Gates grant issues, which I have not been directly involved in. Krista, a little more with the inventory tool, which is one of the things we'll be looking at. So kind of if you're looking for things here, this is where you would go. And then from here, if I scroll down just a smidge, we have down at the bottom of the screen here the actual website for TechAtlas where you can log in and get access to your account.
And actually, can you scroll down even more? I want to show a couple other things. Today, in 1 hour or less, we're going to be going through all the different parts of TechAtlas and showing you briefly, here's the different things you can do and here's what it can do. But WebJunction itself also, for each of these 3 main parts of TechAtlas, have their own online recordings of webinars they've done in the past as well. And each of these are about an hour long each. So these you would consider more in-depth training. If seeing what Michael shows you is a taste and you're ready, go ahead and jump in and use TechAtlas, sure. However, if you want more, I would definitely recommend going here and watching these sessions. They've got one, the first 2 here, inventory tools, event tracker, and then if you scroll down, the last one on tech planning. So, and there's Kendra Morgan, her picture at the bottom there. She's the one that does these.
Yep.
She is the program manager for TechAtlas at WebJunction. She is your contact for anything you need to know about it if you're going to via WebJunction. But I just want to say definitely, today, all of this in 1 hour, but lots more in-depth recordings of webinars right there on the WebJunction website as well.
Yep. Yes, thank you for that reminder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and launch TechAtlas here. And this is the homepage for that. The one thing we want to talk about just a little bit here is signing up for an account, how you get an account here. There is a sign up now button right here in the middle, which if you don't already have an account, you can sign up for your library. Now, here's a key point, however. Your library may already have a TechAtlas account. as we mentioned, previous Gates grants have required that you use some of these tools in the past. So even if you don't necessarily know about it, your library may already have an account. They kind of prefer that libraries don't create multiple accounts. So if you're not sure, you can go back to that page we were on previously, contact Kendra Morgan. Her contact information is available there back on the WebJunction site. And she will let you know if your library already has an account and can help you out with that. Mm-hmm. If your library does not, you're absolutely sure they do not, then you can use this Sign Up Now button and go ahead and log in. I already have an account. I've played with this in the past. I've demoed this. I kind of use my house as kind of the example library in this case, since I'm not actually a library. And considering, however, that in some cases I do have more computers in my house than some libraries that we deal with, I figure I can kind of use that as our environment. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here, and I'm also going to make sure that this browser does not remember my login information for me, since we're on a staff computer here in the building. And so what we have is a couple of different sections. We're going to talk about 3 of the 4 of them. If you look at the tabs across the top, we are currently here at home. There is a planning section, a survey section, inventory, and then tools and reports. Now, survey is the one thing we're not really going to talk about. In here, you can set up kind of evaluations of your staff. You can create little surveys about what they know. There's a word I completely evaluating staff competencies. If you're trying to figure out what they do and don't know, that's something that can be very important when it comes to writing your technology plan, getting an idea of what your staff does know, doesn't know, what they need to know, and then you can adjust your technology plan accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and actually take a look at the planning tool last, because it kind of pulls in data from the other tools that we're going to look at, the inventory tool and the event tracker. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a look here at inventory. And a lot of these tools here are very easy to use once you get the hang of them. There is a bit of a learning curve. And I'm going to provide some pointers and some suggestions as how to use these things. But in most cases, they do actually just kind of walk you through a process of how to do these services. Now, the inventory tool is something you can use to actually take an inventory of the equipment and the software that you have in your library. Okay? We all are going to have hardware. We're all going to have software. We're all going to have license keys. Okay, you know, we're going to have not necessarily usernames and passwords in this case, but like I said, hardware, software, and license keys. Kind of if I'm in a room full of people here, at some point I usually ask, okay, does everybody know where their Windows license key is? Yeah, Krista's kind of, I don't know. I remember I got a disk maybe, or I got this little sheet of paper with a hologram on it when I got my computer, and you know, we've probably filed that away in the filing cabinet somewhere. This is something you can actually track here in that system. You might have different computers. When did you buy them? What software is installed on them? How much RAM does it have? What is the CPU? All of these pieces of information that can be can be handy for troubleshooting, can be handy for replacement schedules, all these different things. You need a way to track all of that. I've seen the spreadsheet method. The spreadsheet method's not bad, okay? But I kind of think that this system is a little handier, and you can get a spreadsheet out the back end if you want.
Yes.
So all of the information you put in here is exportable. So let's just say that kind of right up front.
If you like that, or if someone in your administration needs, I want spreadsheet.
Yep, you can get a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing you want to do when you're using the inventory tool is you want to set up your locations. Now, for the lovely recording here, everybody now knows where I live. That's okay. You can Google me. You can find out where I live. Anyways, the concept of locations here is something you don't necessarily want to take too literally. For example, here in Nebraska, we have Lincoln Cities and Omaha Public are the only libraries that have branches in the whole state. Everybody else is a single branch library. That being said, some of the single branch libraries in this state are larger than others. Okay? So if Lincoln Cities or Omaha was using this, they could literally set up the different branches and do inventory what's in each branch. Some of the larger libraries, maybe North Platte would be one that would come to mind, where they only have one building, but they still have a bunch of computers. They might add a location for the reference area. They might add a location for the computer lab. They might add a location for children's. Okay? So that you can still subdivide your computers if you'd like by location, or if it's just the one building and the 12 computers, then you can just say we have one location. Okay. I've also seen divided up by public versus staff. Okay. Now, setting up your locations is important as we go further down the line when it comes to things like the event tracker. Okay. In my case, I've literally just created one location. That's my home. Okay. If I wanted to add a new location, I would click the Add a New Library Location button. If I need to edit that later, there's always an edit. I can remove it. I can change the name of it. I can, whatever. Had I thought about it, I probably would have called this home instead of my street address, but, there you go. Too late now. All right. Then you have your inventory area, and you have networks, computers and software licenses. Notice I haven't done anything with that yet. Printers and other peripherals, internet and email systems, telecommunications, subscriptions. Okay. All sorts of things you can put in here. Networks, if you have a separate staff network from a separate public network. I know Lincoln City Libraries has done that recently. That is something. What sort of networking hardware are you running in your library? That's the sort of information you would put under networks. Okay? What I'm mainly going to focus on here is the computers and software area, because it's going to be kind of the most use to most people. And we only have so much time in which to cover all of this. Okay? So what we can do here is, notice we have library locations. That's going to pull that location information in from my previous screen. And then the number of computers I have listed for that particular thing. And believe it or not, that number is low.
You haven't updated your...
My data is a little out of date. Prepping for this has kind of made me think I need to kind of go through and that, and I've rebuilt my Linux box a couple of times, so I actually need to completely pull that one out and put in a new one. Anyways, so let's say we want to add a new computer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click Add New Computer, and I'm going to attempt to add the computer that we're using here. Okay? It asks you what is your operating system, Windows, Macintosh, Linux, or other. So it does take into account Linux things and Macs. What is the name of the computer? So we're going to call this Meadowlark, because Meowlark, right? Okay. And this is currently running Windows Vista. They haven't added Windows 8 yet. That's okay. It's developer release. This is not a public access computer, and I'm going to say that we got this on January 1st, 2006. I don't really know in this particular case. Okay. Then as we scroll on down here, we can add additional information such as the library location. Now, if you have more than one location, this will show up in the drop-down list. Okay. This is actually a workstation. It's a Dell something or other. And then we can start just pulling in, what sort of things. I think this is a Pentium Intel Core 2. Notice, though, some of you might be thinking, okay, how do I find all this information? Okay, we're going to come back to that. I'm actually not going to save this information. I'm going to show you another tool that's actually going to allow you to do this just a little bit easier. But you fill in all this information. You can fill in the installed software, the operating systems, etc. You can save it, or you can delete it if this was one you had previously created.
And you can see at the top, only those few things in the very top section are the required bits. So if you're just doing some basic inventorying and tracking, that's all it's going to make you do to start with, and that's fine. But it is nice to have the other information just for your reference.
Yes.
Then you have one place to come and find out what all this was.
And I'm going to show you a way you can pull that in just a moment here. So I'm going to back out. I'm not going to actually add that computer. Okay. Now, I also have some options over here on the right. I have organized computers. If I click on that, that's going to allow me to kind of edit some of the date required, whether it's a public access computer, change the location. So maybe I've actually moved a machine from one area to another. I can manipulate those. I can select computers to delete. So in my case, I happen to mention that the Linux box here, my scanning station, that's actually I really need to start over. It's not that computer anymore, so I can select that here and then delete it from my inventory and add it back later as a new machine. I can import data here. Now, I'm going to kind of talk about that in a little bit. That involves this tool that we'll do, but there is a way to kind of collect this data and then import it into your system involving a flash drive. And then you can actually download your computer inventory also, and this is going to give you your comma separated value, your CSV file, which you can easily open up into Excel. Okay, so you can get all this data back out into that Excel file as we mentioned earlier. Okay. Now, with that, I'm going to jump over here to Tools and Reports. And that is actually not where I wanted to go. Excuse me just a second here. Where is my inventory tool? I'm sorry, folks. I've gotten lost.
Well, go to the computers. Go back to where you were.
Computers and software.
Isn't it under organized
CSV
computers?
No. Under organized computers? Where are you looking? No, that's just going to allow me to change my data acquired, public access, and library locations. Okay, we're missing a tool at the moment. I'm going to talk about it real quickly, and then Krista is going to do a little search here to see if we can figure out where it went. Last time we checked, there was a tool that worked in two ways. One of which, it's a little tiny program that you can have it automatically inventory a computer and pull that information into a flash drive. So you put this little program on a flash drive, you take it from computer to computer, you run the little program, and it takes all of that information, the CPU, the speed of the CPU, how much RAM do you have, what software is installed, all of that extended data that we were looking at on the Add a New Computer page. Did you find it?
Click Inventory Computers button, the big button.
Oh, the one that the camera's in front of? Here we go. Sorry about that, folks. We have a camera partially sitting in front of our screen here. Okay, so here we go. So we have the local inventory tool.
Yeah, the browser compatibility.
Yes. Okay. And the network inventory tool. And again, from the looks of it, I'm just going to have to talk about it. I feared that this would not work unless I was in Internet Explorer or Firefox. I'm running Chrome, so this won't work here. Okay, the local inventory tool. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to download this little program, put it on a flash drive, and then walk from computer to computer, okay, and plug the flash drive in, run the little program, and then it's going to create that Excel file of all of that information.
All those parts.
Sorry about that. And then what you do is you take that flash drive with all that data back to your inventory tool, and then you import that data. Okay, and that's going to pull in all of that information. This will only work, as you see here, on Windows-based machines. If you have Linux-based machines or Macs, you will have to enter that information manually.
Right.
Okay.
You can see, as you saw from their choices, they do let you inventory anything.
Yes, yes.
But they only have made these
tool
auto
only works in
tools
Windows.
work with Windows and IE and Firefox.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the other tool, which is kind of cool but also doesn't work as well, is the network inventory tool. Again, Windows only. And what it will do is you run the network inventory tool, and it starts crawling your network looking for that information and then automatically imports it. Now, this only works if, A, Windows machines, B, you have the same administrative username and password on all of those Windows machines. Okay? Because what you do is you give the network tool the administrative username and password. It crawls the network. It kind of logs in the background, collects the data, and logs back out again. So you're welcome to give it a try, but all of my experience basically says you're probably better off walking around with a flash drive.
It depends on how you're set up, yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think
mean,
most people I've worked with have done the local one just because it's also a little more control, because you're going to each computer, not putting it in one and saying, now it's going to go where and grab everything. I find that's a little...
And most of the libraries we deal with, if you have 30 computers, you're considered a very large library. If you're Seattle or San Francisco Public, maybe you do want it to crawl the network because you have hundreds of computers to deal with. But those tools are available to you. That is how I inventoried the machines in my house, with the exception of the Linux box. I walked around with the flash drive, I ran the local inventory tool, and then I came back to my account and I uploaded that data, and it pulled it in. Really, really handy. Okay.
And then you get all that extra information beyond the required stuff that we were looking at and saying, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is going to pull in, how much RAM do you have in your computer? I don't know. Well, you can look it up. You can go into computer properties. You can find this information.
You can show on your computers where it's already pulled that in.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I want to...
if you go to organize it.
Yeah, organize computers. No, I want to...
You want to view it. Okay.
I want to view the actual computer. Oh, joy. Oh, wait a minute. That's under my reports, I do believe.
No, that's your...
No. Oh, geez. Things are... computer inventory by operating system. And so that says not what I wanted. Oh, boy. See, Krista needs to stop asking me questions.
Sorry.
I swear they've rearranged something in here. This is... Okay, so select computers to delete, download, planning. Where is my view my computers? Library locations. Reports. This session's going well, isn't it?
Oh, geez.
What?
Go back to your list of computers.
Yes. Computers. Nope, that's the screen. Yes. Dead air.
Yours is saying library locations with no computers inventoried. No library locations with no computers inventoried.
Library locations.
It should look like this.
Something is not here. No library locations with no computers.
But it says you've got 6 computers.
It says I have 6 computers. Oh, to complete your inventory, check this box. Your inventory has been marked complete. And it's still... Something is wrong with my account. There is supposed to be a list of my computers right here where I've highlighted where it says under library locations with no computers inventoried. Underneath it says it's supposed to say computers at primary location. Okay, let's do that real quick. We're going to log out. We're going to log into a different account.
My email address.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Okay, inventory.
Computers and software.
Here's the software. See, there we go. See, on my account, there should have been... there should have been 6 computers listed there. For some reason, there's not. But in this case, we can view edit. Now, are you going to have all that information done? No.
No.
It's still
but
blank.
That is where it would be.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. I'm going to contact Kendra about that. Say, why wasn't that working?
Because yours just had this and then this. This
right.
wasn't there at all.
That was not. That section was not there in my account. So, all right. Okay.
Anyhow,
and in fact, I
like
didn't have all these menus items across the top either. Okay. Aren't we glad we're recording this? All right, I'm going to move on. Yes. Let's talk about the event tracker. So I'm going to go over here to Tools and Reports and then the event tracker. The event tracker, I think, is pretty darn cool. Okay. Basically, it's a trouble ticketing system for your computers and your peripherals and your software. Okay. The first thing you need to do to make this work is you need to inventory everything. Okay. Because what it's going to do is it's going to pull that information into the event tracker. So if you say, I have these 6 computers, if somebody's got a problem with a particular computer, it will give you the list of the 6 computers that you've inventoried. Okay? So what we're going to do here is we have no events at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and add a new event. Okay? Now, what's going to happen here, I'm kind of doing this manually, but what you can get out of this system is a URL for each of your locations that you give to the staff. Okay? So let's say you have branches A, B, and C. We'll just kind of simplify this. You're going to have a URL for branch A, a URL for branch B, and a URL for branch C. On the staff computers at branch A, you bookmark the URL for branch A, branch B, branch C, etc. Then when a patron says, hey, I've got a problem with computer number 6 over here, the staff clicks on that link and gets a form very similar to the one we're looking at now. And you can say, okay, well, it's going to be at branch A. It's going to be computer, in this case, number 1. And is there a bug? Is it a change request? Is it an error message? Is it a hardware problem? Let's say it is a hardware problem. And we're going to say, can't print from this computer. Okay? And I'm going to actually make this report. And we're going to put in my email address. nebraska.gov, and date and time, and it is currently unresolved. And you know what? I would like an email back when Krista over here has fixed this problem.
Me.
Okay, so we're going to click Save. And what's going to happen is, as part of your account setup, you will have indicated who should get that email.
Yes.
Krista will have gotten this email. Okay, and now if you look down here, we have a problem at our primary location that we can't print from a particular computer, computer number 1. Okay, and then I can go in and I can view this. I'm now the tech person, and I says, okay, we can't have this problem, da 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 da. And so then I might pass this on to somebody else, or I can go out to that branch and I have resolved that issue, and I reinstalled the printer driver. Now works. And I click Update, and it saves that change. And now, as you can see here, we have the original report. We have the solution. It's marked as resolved.
Yay.
Okay, and there we go. This is wonderful. I was talking to a librarian just in the last 24 hours about how they submit problems to the people who fix. And she was like, well, if it's a problem with this, we email this person. If it's a problem like this, we email this other person. And if it's this type of problem, we email a third person. And I was thinking about it, and really the person who's submitting the problem, the librarian, doesn't care who fixes it. They just want to know that it's gotten fixed. So a tool like this, it can just go to somebody at the department. The department figures out who's going to fix it. The department deals with it. Then they respond saying that we fixed the problem. Okay. The best part of this, though, is that you now have a record of the problems. And this gets back to our whole technology planning thing. If you notice that computer number 1 at the main branch is getting 1 or 2 problems a week, maybe you need to replace that computer. If that printer is constantly jamming, maybe you need to replace that printer. Okay? If patrons are constantly asking that they be able to do something, maybe have a different web browser installed than Internet Explorer, you can put that in as a request, okay, or a feature request. You know, you can track all of this stuff. You can go back through. You can see how problems were solved. That's the other thing, because these are completely searchable. Okay? If you get a detailed error message and you figure out what the solution is and you log it, you can search your previous reports for those problems and those solutions.
Figure out how you did it last time.
Excuse me, yes. Tracking this stuff is amazing. I keep threatening my wife that I'm actually going to install this at home. So whenever there's a computer problem with her machine, she can just fill out the form and send me an email. I've not yet done it, but I keep threatening that I'm
Because right now, she just waits till you get home.
She basically waits till I get home. And the funny thing is I can log into our network from across the internet, and I might be able to solve the problem if you tell me what the problem is over my lunch hour or while I'm on the road or something like that. So anyway, luckily her machine's been running pretty smoothly lately. So that's the event tracker, and I think that is so totally useful. You can get these requests out. You can download this data. You can sort it. Here's your download as a spreadsheet up at the top. You know, just document. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's really, really important. I'm sorry, my voice is starting to go. Mm-hmm. We're just having a lovely time here today with this session. All
Is
right.
it Monday?
No, it's not Monday. It's Wednesday.
Feels like it.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. All right. So, okay, that's the inventory tool and the event tracker. Do we have any questions from the audience? We don't have a large audience today.
That's okay.
Maybe
Does anybody
glad of
have
that.
any questions? They want to know anything more about what Michael's shown, or have
I'm going to do one more here. I'm just going to add this new event, and in this case, suggesting here, computer number 1, that I have a change request. Please install Firefox. And please, actually, Chrome. I'm just here to fill up Krista's inbox. And it's currently unresolved, and email me when that's updated, please, and we'll go ahead and send that out. And now you can see here that we have an unresolved issue and we have a resolved issue. So
I'll get to it later.
Yeah, whatever. But the key is those URLs. So, when you give your staff those bookmarks to report a problem, they don't see all this back-end stuff. No. They just see the form, they fill it in, they click send, and then the technical people get it and get access to this and then have that. So no questions coming in?
Nope, doesn't. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in your questions section of GoToWebinar, and
interrupt me.
I'll ask.
Anytime. All right. Okay. So let's talk about the planning area here real briefly. Looks like Krista's been working with this, so I'm going to be kind of looking at her data. You worked on this last year, from the sounds of it. Technology planning is very important. This is something Krista and I have been advocating for a lot lately. Mainly because, especially here in Nebraska, a lot of new equipment is being installed in libraries under the BTOP grants.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a lot of libraries here in Nebraska and in Colorado and many other states about this issue. Krista also has been talking to a lot of libraries. And, the 11-year upgrade plan on your hardware is not exactly the greatest plan in the world. And the 11-year upgrade plan generally involves 11 years ago we got a bunch of free computers. It's now 11 years later we're getting much more free computers. You can't do that. I mean, I can't really put, because those 11-year-old computers don't do what your patrons want to do with them. Yes, they may work, okay? They may function, but they probably don't run a lot of websites correctly. The latest version, you're not going to run the latest version of Office on those old computers. And even if you're getting brand new equipment this year, okay, you can't wait another 11 years. Okay, especially with what's going on with hardware changes, with software changes coming up. I mean, I've played around with the new Windows 8 that's going to be out in about a year. I mean, there are just so many things that old equipment is not going to run. Okay?
And we know that a lot of people, a reason why you're on an 11-year plan is, of course, budget.
Yes. Oh,
you don't
completely.
Yes. And that there isn't the money if you have 10 computers in a library that every 4 years you get 10 new ones. No. And that's definitely an issue. It's something that needs to be worked into your budget somehow, worked into the ongoing running of your library, as we need a schedule and plan of how to do this, and we need to have something in writing that tells our the people in charge of the money.
Yes.
Here's why we need to do this, where the money, what the money's going to be for, and that's what your technology plan can do. That's why you want to have something in writing that shows you've thought this out, you've used strategy to figure out when you need to do things, when you can do things, how it can be done. Maybe every 3 years we get 2 new computers and how to rotate, whatever. But get a plan in writing of something nice and pretty and official like this that you can hand to the funding people, your city money people, your boards, whoever, and say, here.
Or somebody who might just give you money.
Yes, of course.
And
if you can go to like a local business or some charity or someone that wants to look good and say, here's our plan for how we are doing things in the library, would you be able to help us make sure we can get these computers every 3-4 years?
Yeah, and we've done plenty of talks that are online and recorded about why you want to do a plan and how to do it. We're just going to talk about this tool in particular, but the one thing I do want to stress is it's a plan. It's not a commitment.
Yes.
Now, I mean, you would hope that you can fulfill your plan, but it's not going to happen if you don't have a plan. If you have a plan, you can only increase your chances. And when we talk about technology planning, we're kind of stressing hardware here, but maybe you want to do a new website for the library. That can be part of your technology plan. Maybe you want to train your staff in the technology you just got. That can be part of your technology plan. As much as we're kind of so far been focusing on hardware, that's not the end-all and be-all of your technology plan. Okay. Also, and we'll kind of walk through the different sections here, starting with plan years, the big question we always get is, how long should our technology plan be for? Okay. Not 11 years. I wouldn't go any longer than 5. I generally recommend 3. Okay? Because stuff changes so fast these days, and the things coming down the pike. I mean, let me ask you this. A lot of the stuff you do today, did you picture doing it 5 years ago? Probably not for a lot of it. I mean, yes, you're still word processing, so you're still using spreadsheets.
Even if you're using the 3-year plan for technology plan and you're on the end of your 3 years, are e-readers in your plan that you wrote 3 years ago?
Yeah, probably not.
No. Did they exist? Well, they did.
Well, they did exist.
Not
but they
enough
weren't,
that you were probably putting it into your plan as a regular thing at your library.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. So literally, you just walk through this, and I don't want to edit anything because Krista's actually built this plan here. But oh, okay, it's a demo. So she's got a plan year of 2010 here. That the start date is 2010. It goes through 2012. I can start a new one. I can edit the existing one. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start a 2011 one here. And so today is 9/20/21. Yep. 2011, and I said 3 years, right? So that's going to be 9/21/2014. Okay, I'm going to add that, and I now have 2 plans, and I'm going to go ahead and edit my 2011 plan, and I'm just going to save that because all it does is allow you to edit that right there.
It's just
all right. So that's the plan years. Now the team. So we're just going to walk through this here, and Krista's in charge. Yeah. There's her email address. Looks like I'm on the team here. I didn't even know that. All right. I now know I'm on the team. Okay, so we can change that, and then we get over to mission and vision. And at this point, copy and paste. I mean, really, if you're director of the library, you should have a mission statement. You might have a vision statement. All of this is optional. But you can just, go to the website, pull down the mission statement, paste into here. Bring it up in the Word document that you might have it stuck in somewhere. Copy and paste.
And as you can see, too, as you go to each of these parts in here in the upper right side there, Web Junction articles, if you don't have one, or if you're thinking maybe I need to update mine because, gosh, I can't remember how long ago somebody else wrote it, there'll be all these help things for articles and information and things in Web Junction that you can bounce out to help you figure out each of these parts of your plan.
Yep. Okay. Goals and objectives. Again, bunch of boxes. Now, in this case, we can actually create individual goals. We can reorder them. We can hide objectives and activities. There's all sorts of details here that we don't have time to get into, but we can add a new goal here, such as learn how to use e-readers. Okay, or actually a better one would be teach staff how to use e-readers, because this is not a personal goal. This is a goal for the library. So we're going to just add that new goal here. And and then under that we can add objectives. So I can say, all right, so the first objective is buy some. And the deadline there is going to be, we're going to put that at the end of the year. We'll make it the 30th, so it's a weekday. Save that. And then, the next objective might be, and then activities. So you can break this down almost as granular as you want, okay? But maybe another objective would be to, then actually do the training, or evaluate, or find a trainer, or things like that. All right, so moving along, professional development, okay? Now you can write an example of how are you going to do your general overall training of your staff. And this is something we're talking about a lot here at the Commission lately, about what do staff need to know and how are they going to learn it. And I mean, really, what do they need to know is the big conversation right now.
And that's going to vary from library to
Oh,
library.
yes.
What,
Totally.
What your library staff needs to know to serve your patrons is not going to be the same as the library in the next town over.
Yes.
So you need to evaluate your library services, talk to your patrons, see what they want, what they need, and figure out to make sure your staff can do those things.
Okay. Budgeting. Okay. So totally not my area. But here's your budget tool.
You probably have a budget somewhere else, and this is just a place where you can put it in, and then it will be added when you have your technology plan in the end. It will be in there as part of that.
But I mean, this is great because you can pull it into you can create categories, funding sources. You can really organize this into a nice format. And we're just a moment here. We'll get to the why do you want to fill it all in here, because that's kind of the ultimate goal. Okay, evaluation. How are you going to evaluate the plan? Right. When are you going to look at it? You're going to look at it in a year? You're going to wait 3 years? I would say you should look at it annually because things do change that fast. Put in some evaluation steps.
So now this is an evaluation of the plan itself, not of your technology. That's what you're doing ongoing anyways.
Okay. Then policies. You can add in information here. And in this case, you would basically, in most cases, upload and attach files.
Something
in this
you already
case.
have, yeah.
So
down at the bottom left, you can see choose file.
Choose file, add a policy. So if you've got your internet access policies, if you've got your computer use policies, that sort of thing, all of that, you want to attach these as kind of appendices to your report. You get all this in here, and then what you get to do is download your technology plan. And it's going to take all of the information that you put in here. It's going to format it into a narrative with some attachments. You would also want to pull in your, download your inventory, okay? Possibly some event tracker information. You have this here. Now, obviously, we didn't pull in a lot of information, but you can see everything we did is actually in this document. And then here in the upper right, you can email it to somebody. You can download it as a Word doc format, or you can download it as a rich text format document. So once you've got it all in, you can get it as a Word document, and then you can edit it.
Yeah. And what's great about this is, as you can see across the top in the planning, a technology plan can be very intimidating and scary. Oh my God, what do I need to put into it? How much? How do I do it? It breaks it up into all these little bits. Do one bit at a time. If you know your budget, jump over there and do that. You don't have to do it in the order that it's listed here. You just have to do them all eventually and have them all done. And you have time to do it whenever you're done. When you download it, then you can make it pretty. Like if you're making it like a nice report or brochure to hand someone, take the library's logo and put it on the cover.
Yep.
Things like that. But if you have put together pie charts or bar graphs, or, people that always catches people's attention. Things that are visual aids are awesome to add to it. So when you have it out as a Word document, all these written parts, add in things like that to really jazz it up before you give it to your funding people, whoever.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So. All right, that's kind of the three major areas of this. I mentioned just the survey area again. I will bring it up, and you can create surveys for your staff to fill out, and what do you know, what do you don't know, help for training issues, things like that. They do have some built-in ones here, technology skills survey, computer security assessments, that sort of thing. So, it's just kind of one other side tool that you might want to take advantage of. I found, though, that really what level assessment you want to do is really going to vary from library to library, but that's something that you do need to take into consideration. So, any questions from the audience on TechAtlas? That's kind of all we wanted to do on that.
As I said, that's an overview of the inventory tool for keeping track of all your equipment in your library, the event tracker for tracking all the problems with your equipment in the library, and the tech planning tool to create your tech plan to keep your technology and computers up to date.
Yeah. So,
like I said, very brief overview, very quick through all of them, yes, but as we showed on the WebJunction site, they've got those full videos that can give you full trainings on each one of these sections to really get into it. TechAtlas is a free service for libraries too. I don't know if we mentioned that or made it really.
We didn't say otherwise.
Yeah,
it is free.
This is a free service, just like WebJunction is free for everyone to use. But it doesn't cost anything. Any library can go and use it as much as you want to. So jump on there and start playing with it and get your library. Doesn't like anything's coming yet.
All right.
So
okay. Great. No questions. Small group. No questions. That's good. All right. So I got about 10 minutes left. Just want to talk about kind of news and tools and stuff that I found over the last several weeks. And again, no need to write down all these URLs. We will post a link to this bookmark page where you can kind of pull all this stuff in here. So let me just run through these, talk about each one very briefly. Things. The first one, Google goes live for one and all. This happened yesterday. Google Plus is now officially into beta, and anybody can sign up. You don't need an invitation anymore to get into Google Plus. Also, a lot of additional features have been added.
Tweet yesterday that says, now your mom can be on Google Plus.
Yay!
Yay?
Okay, yeah. Well, there you go. So if you were kind of on the fence, wanting to try it out, didn't have an invite, that sort of thing, now you can go in and sign up for Google Plus. Try it out. That's Google's latest attempt at a social network. I like it. I like it a lot. We did do a session on it a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago now, which is still mostly accurate. They've added some features. They've changed some things, but that's out there. You might want to take a look at it. This next service, Krista and I played around with this yesterday, the quick screen share. We use and have here GoToWebinar and GoToMeeting, and we can use it for screen sharing, which is exactly what we're doing now, and I have used it in some cases for tech support. In other words, somebody saying, how do I do this? And I really want to show them, I want to share my screen with them, or I want to take a look at their screen. Okay? And we can use GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting. We pay for it. It's not exactly cheap, and we can only have one person on at a time. This is a completely free, simple, easy to use screen sharing online service. I mean, it just works.
I see that, and I didn't notice this yesterday, that it's from Screencast-O-Matic.
Yep.
That is actually a known place you can go to create your own screencasts, little web movies of things that you're showing. So it's not coming from like nobody.
Yeah.
it's kind of a reputable source.
So what we did yesterday was I said I wanted to share my screen. I said my name is Michael. I click start. It gives me a URL and it launches a Java application. So nothing to install. Okay. And then it gave me this URL, which I then sent to Krista. Krista clicked on that URL, it launched Java, and then she started seeing my screen. It was that easy. Now, it does warn you that on some networks, if you got some network blocking going on, if your network is really locked down, it may not work. It actually worked here in the commission, which I was expecting it not to, so I would like to say it works more often than not. And then also we did it the other way where I wanted to see her screen, and I sent her the link, and she clicked on the link, and then I started seeing her screen. Now, does not do audio. It's only screen sharing. So if you actually want to talk to the person, you're going to have to get with them on, say, the phone. But if somebody gives you a call and says, I need some help, you can use this, you can jump on. I could not control her screen. She could not control my screen, but she could see it. So it's just screen sharing. Try it out if you think you might have a use for that. Really, really handy. Okay, I'm going to kind of jump around in a couple of these because there's just some I want to show that are a little more important than others. I'm going to add here mentioning GoToMeeting, which we do use here at the Commission. Now there is an Android app for that. It was also available on iOS. It is just GoToMeeting. It is not GoToWebinar. At the moment, we're using GoToWebinar. But Krista was able to start a meeting, and I was able to watch it on my phone. Okay. I can't audio. I can only watch and listen. So it is kind of a little bit of a minimalistic experience. But you know, if you're away, you've got an Android phone, need to participate in a GoToMeeting thing, there is the app that is available. In fact, on my new phone, it was pre-installed. It actually came with my phone. The app is free, came with the phone. So GoToMeeting, however, is not. free.
No.
So
but if someone else is paying for GoToMeeting and holding a meeting via it, you would be able to attend.
Yep.
Using
exactly.
your phone. Yeah.
Right. Okay. What else have I got here? This one, a little more techie here for a moment. I have not yet really played with this. Okay, it's IFTTT. If this, then that.
Okay.
Okay, and what you do is you create what are called recipes. Okay, and this is a whole page of recipes. Okay?
I'm guessing this has nothing to do with making my lunch, though.
No, this has nothing to do with making your lunch. Okay. If this, then that. So, for example, here's one that says, let me know if it's going to rain. And basically what they have set up is that based on a particular weather service, if in my location it's going to rain, send me a text message saying so. Here's one where if someone tags me in a photo in Facebook, automatically download it for me to my Dropbox account. If somebody starts following me on Twitter, send them the following tweet back welcoming them to follow me. In other words, it allows you to join different services together in certain circumstances.
Interesting.
I need to spend an afternoon with this. Okay. So, for example, if I star something in Google Reader, add it to my Instapaper account, which means it's something I want to read later. Send me an email tomorrow if there will be rain. Okay, which is instead of a text message. Archive all of my tweets to my Evernote account. And you can build your own. You just have to figure out what it is you want to do, and then you have to have accounts in both of the services that you're attached to. Do you remember Yahoo Pipes?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but a heck of a lot easier. Okay, so I've just, that's the best I can explain it. You do have to sign up to use it, but you can create your own recipes, and then you can share them with other people, so other people can use the benefits of your labor.
So I see it's kind of like nice on one place to have the different things you can do. And I can see a lot of these things are things you may do yourself manually.
Right.
Like, oh, when I look in Facebook, I'm checking in. Oh, look, someone tagged me. Let me download it. You may get something from the Weather Channel that automatically emails you or texts you stuff already.
Right.
But here's just something that you can do, a place to find a lot of cool things that you maybe never thought of having
right.
it do.
And, it's kind of one of these things where I can give you 100 examples that may be of no use to you. At this point, you need to kind of grasp the concept that maybe there's something that if this happens, please do this, that will work in your environment. Like just using this example here, I might have something on my phone or a whole widget that gives me the current weather and the forecast and whatever. But really, you know what? I just want to get a text message if it's going to rain today.
So I remember I grab my umbrella when I walk out the door.
Exactly, because I might not actually check the weather, but I always check my text messages. You know, that is going to be, it was of use to at least one person because he wrote it. And look at 1,412 other people have used it. So it's, that one I might try out. Now, how you build your own is something I've not looked into, but it's supposed to be very, very simple and very easy to do. So. Okay, I'm going to show you two other things here that I have bookmarked. One is this what was there. This is kind of cool, and I'm hoping this will work well kind of over the screen sharing. What this does is allows you to access and upload historical photos, but then overlay them on Google Street View. Okay?
What it used to look like.
What it used to look like. What does it look like today? So, for example, I'm going to put in Lincoln, Nebraska. I know there's just 3 images here to play with, so I'm gonna use this. So what we've got here is Lincoln, Nebraska, and we've got 3 different images. Okay. Now I'm going to pick this Eagle Fruit Store real one because there's a reason. Okay. Now here is the image. Actually, is that no? That's not the one I want. I want Flag Day. Sorry. Okay. So here's the image, and it shows you where on the map it is, and you can view details. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to
this original picture is from 1942.
1942 Flag Day. So I'm going to go to Google Street View, and what this is going to do is it's going to pull up Google Street View behind this image. Okay, And then what I can do, and this might be a little hard to see for those of you live, but I'm going to choose this fade so you can kind of start to see through the image to where it is. And if I go all the way, okay, this, by the way, is our building. That's Sally's office right there in the corner.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I can do, and
wow, the street used to be a lot
actually,
skinnier.
Krista, your window would be right about here,
yeah,
wouldn't
that's
it?
Probably
That's probably your office right there. But so what we can do is we can now fade that photo from 1942 kind of back in on top of it to see what it looked like back then.
Interesting in this case how the same buildings are still there.
The buildings are still there. The streets are still there. The street lights are not still there.
In this particular case, have not been torn down.
Yes, although I think the street is a lot wider.
Yes.
Okay, if you notice, it's kind of a two-lane in some part. Now, the layout is not going to be necessarily 100% accurate, but it's close enough. So, and then you can upload your own old photos and place them and kind of add to this service. I think it's just fun to play with.
Nice.
I mean, check out your town, especially if you've got some old things, things like that. So, play around.
I can
real
see
fun.
this for us here in Nebraska. I just clicked in my head. Nebraska Memories. We have photos in there of stuff all over the state that this could be a cool thing to use.
One of the things that's been talked about is you might want to just take a look at if you have any licensing issues with the photos. Read the license, check it out. If it's your own personal photo and you're okay what they do with it, go for it. If you're a library dealing with other people's photos, you might want to look into it just a little bit more. Okay, last thing I'm going to show you is completely silly and almost crazy. And this is exactly why we're running Chrome, because I found the neatest new plugin for Chrome. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Flickr, and we're going to search for a friend of ours. Okay, we're going to search for Josh Neff. We know Josh.
Yeah.
Josh is going to love this. I haven't told him about this yet. And so.
You don't have to be logged in?
Nah. Okay. What does this little icon up here in the upper right above other bookmarks look like to you?
Mustache.
It looks like a mustache.
One of those things.
Okay. What this does is anytime it finds a face online, if we give it a minute here to work, sometimes it's faster than others. It's Jason Clark, another friend of ours. It's supposed to work.
Did you click on it?
No, I don't have to click on it because it's turned on right now. At least it's supposed to be. Come on, work. Enable, disable. Let's see, that's disabled. Let's enable it again. Okay. What should happen, and at home when I've been playing with this, it's actually been kind of disturbing and very funny. It's not working.
Why is it?
I need a better photo of anybody. It's supposed to work on any. There we go.
What?
It just added mustaches to them.
Nice.
And it randomizes the mustache. Sometimes they curl on the end. Sometimes it's a Fu Manchu. Sometimes it's straight. Basically, what Mustachio plugin does is anytime it finds a face online in a picture, it adds a mustache.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just very amused by this.
A little fun final thing for your
does.
day.
Okay, here's one of some kids. Actually, this is Jason Clark's photo account, actually, at the moment, another librarian of ours. And if we give it a moment.
This is...
or Hitachi Bobby? No, not Jason Clark. Sorry.
Steve Lawson.
Steve Lawson, thank you, up in Colorado. There we go. Now his kids have mustaches.
Oh, big, fat, curly ones.
Big, fat, curly ones, yes. Okay. So that's all it does. It just adds mustaches to faces.
Technology is not always scary and serious. It can also be fun.
Yeah, okay, that's the end of my presentation.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, well, thank you very much. We did have a comment from Jennifer Johnson out there saying about TechAtlas.
Oh, okay, about TechAtlas.
Very informative, and I can see that we can use this. We're glad to hear that, Jennifer. I hope that you do get some use out of that there. Anyhow, thank you for attending today. Didn't see very many questions come through. That's okay, yes. And thank you, Michael, for your Tech Talk this month. I hope you'll join us next week when our NCompass Live is benchmarks and funding for library technology. Still going on the technology bit in libraries. Last month we had a technology planning summer camp that we hosted here across the state of Nebraska, and we had a couple of people who are going to redo their presentations that they did at summer camp.
Keep talking.
For our NCompass Live. One about new technology, public access technology benchmarks that are starting to be created for libraries. And then Mary Jo Ryan here from the Library Commission will talk about that. And then Richard Miller, here also from the Library Commission, the Library Development Director, is going to talk about how to set up sinking funds and to raise money for your library or earn money for your library to help keep up with your technology. So both of them will be here with us next Wednesday here on NCompass Live. So any final questions, comments, suggestions? Something
Mustaches.
about mustaches? Great.
I had to.
I know.
How could I
wonderful.
not?
Thank you. Not a problem. Okay. All right. Doesn't look like anything urgent is coming in at the moment, which is fine. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. You just first.